Right?
Ready.
Call the meeting to order. Have the roll call.
Leaders,
Here.
Dietrich,
Here.
Larson,
Here.
Bingham,
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Let the record show that Flagman is absent.
I go take his comfy chair. Not that this is gonna be that long, but just we'll have a comfy chair.
You'll have the minutes from the previous meeting.
Yep.
Are there any questions or is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve. I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. I'll now read a statement.
Well, since this is our first meeting, we could have an election of officers.
Ah,
Oh, boy.
so which office is first?
Chairman,
Chairman.
I think.
Okay. We're open for nominations for the chairman.
You like being chairman?
Not particularly.
Oh.
Do you like being chairman?
No.
Okay.
First one that says yes is gonna get it.
Too
Rick?
much responsibility for me.
Nelson, you do a fine job.
I was gonna say, Nelson does a good job.
Yeah.
I think we're just.
I know how that works. I'm
Works
not
for
there,
me.
you are. You're doing a good job. I nominate you. I haven't heard a nomination yet.
I nominate Nelson.
I second that.
Is there any other nominations? Okay, since there's only one nomination, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Yes.
Okay. Vice chairman. Nominations.
I nominate Ken Moore.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second that.
Take whoever, whatever.
Any other nominations? It's silent. All those in favor of Ken Moore for vice chairman, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? You didn't say anything. Motion carries. Those are the only two officers we need to elect.
Those are the only two.
Okay.
You just better show up for the whole meeting. And I don't have.
Okay, I'll now read a,
And we could do a review of the
okay, you wanna do the review?
attendance roster
Alright.
and the meeting calendar. We are currently, and just so you all are aware, we are currently seeking another person to replace Brian Lund, as he asked to resign, since he was just unable to really make it. He wasn't ever able to make any of the meetings or anything, so.
So you on that, Scott? You getting a replacement lined up, are you?
That's
That's first you heard.
the first I heard.
have a
My
couple-
question was gonna be if there's supposed to be 7 up there.
I have a feeler out to a couple of different people to see if they're interested in submitting applications, and we'll see how that goes for us.
What do you need? You need a motion to approve the calendar? Is that what you're looking for?
It's just a review, I think.
Just review, okay, so it's not a, okay.
I think everything looks great.
Yeah, I looked at it earlier, I thought it was fine, so.
Okay, I'll now read a statement about how the meeting will be conducted.
Sure.
Yeah. The public hearings will be conducted pursuant to the Commission's rules of procedure. If not done so in written form prior to the hearing, we will first hear the report of the planning director on the detailed information and observations regarding the request before the Commission. Next, we will take the testimony of the applicant and his or her witnesses. Upon completion of the applicant's testimony, I will call upon members of the audience wishing to be heard concerning the request. Persons in favor of the request shall be heard first, followed by those opposed to it. At any time during the presentation of the testimony, the members of the commission may interrupt to ask questions or to make comments on what has been said. Upon completion of all testimony, the applicant will be allowed to make a closing statement to the commission. Upon completion of the applicant's closing statement, I will entertain a motion for the commission to close the public hearing on the request. The commission reserves the right to ask questions of any member of the audience. However, we will not hear any unsolicited statements unless the public hearing is first reopened. Each speaker addressing the commission shall step forward to the podium and state their name and address before proceeding with their testimony or evidence. This commission shall not be bound by strict rules of evidence, but does reserve the right to exclude evidence or testimony that it may deem to be irrelevant, immaterial, incompetent, or unduly repetitious. As chairman, I will rule on all questions relating to the admissibility of evidence which may be overruled by a majority of the commission. Continuances may be granted by the commission in case of good cause shown to any interested party who has entered their appearance. The commission may request a continuance of a hearing for the purpose of giving further notice, taking further evidence, gathering further information, touring the proposed site, or for such other reasons as the commission may find sufficient. In such case, we shall state the specific reasons for the continuance and set a date, time, and place when the matter will be continued. All official actions of this commission will be made at a public meeting by motion, seconded, and polling of the membership. If conditions are imposed, such conditions shall be included in the motion or amendment thereto. Our final decision will be prepared in writing and will be part of the public record of this commission. Now need a motion to open the hearing.
Move to open the hearing.
Second?
Move and second to open the hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Let's see, first case. The first case tonight is Pottawattamie County to amend the following in Chapter 8 zoning ordinance and Chapter 9 subdivision ordinance.
No, it should, Mr. Chairman, the first case tonight should be case number ZTA 2016-01, which would be the landing strips in an A4 district.
Okay. The request, zoning text to amend the Pottawattamie County, Iowa zoning ordinance section 8.014.030. Conditional uses for class A4 Les Hills district by adding subsection .17 to allow for private light plane landing strips and helipads, including crop dusting strips, when laid out and operated in accordance with all applicable regulations of the Federal Aviation Agency, and when situated on a site containing not less than 30 acres. Applicant is Daniel Lee Kelly. Proposed amendments to the zoning ordinance are being made for the following reasons: to allow for private light plane landing strips and helipads, including crop dusting strips, when laid out and operated in accordance with all applicable regulations of the FAA, and when situated on a site containing not less than 30 acres, if approved by the Board of Adjustment with conditional use approval. This provision is currently provided for in the A2, R1, and R2 districts as a conditional use.
Mr. Kelly approached our office about wanting to do one of these on his property. And when, we looked at what the zoning was, the A4 district for it, and that's when I noticed that it was not in there for light planes landing strips in the A4 district, which with it being in the other districts, the A2, R1, and R2 districts, the only thing I could really think of was when the code was being developed, that they thought topography wise that you wouldn't have a chunk of ground with a flat enough spot maybe that you could come in there for a landing strip on. And so I didn't see any problem with recommending that we approve that.
Would anyone in the audience like to make a statement addressing this?
Yeah, I'm Daniel Kelly.
Would you step up to the podium up here?
Sure. Yeah, and I can answer any questions also. Well, first, a little bit about me. I fly commercially for United Airlines, and I work for the FAA too as a side job. I examine the local pilots here in Council Bluffs and certify them as private pilot and commercial pilots. But I'd just like to store my light airplane at my, I don't own a light airplane yet, but I'm going to soon. And I kind of like to just fly it on my own property. And in my situation, I've got a valley that orients north and south, and it's about 2,000 feet as far as runway distance that I could use. And it's ideally suited for it, so for a light little airplane. So that's all I'd be doing. It'd just be a private use only, to where I mean, I'd probably be lucky to fly it once every 2 weeks out of there. But, you know, every once in a while, maybe I get to fly a couple times a week, but type of deal where it's just a hobby for me. But since I fly commercially and I also, you know, examine and light airplanes all the time, I'm as proficient as it gets, you know, for as far as a safe operation of a small aircraft. But that's why I want it, and that's why I approached Matt on that. So any questions I can?
What's the location? Where are you at?
Crescent, just outside of Crescent. Yeah, I'm just off of Badger.
Oh,
As,
okay.
you head east out of Crescent.
I know
Just
that
to the
area
south.
well.
There's a valley just past the ballpark. There's a valley to the south there,
Okay.
and I build up in the hill there.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, so that's where I'm at. So.
How would the, would the city, any city limits, like Crescent city limits, would that overrule Pottawattamie County jurisdiction if it's inside the city limits there, or how's that work?
If it was inside city limits, yes.
Yeah, and I'm just outside of city limits. Yeah, that's where I'm at. And I've already got the local airspace approval from Epley, because I'm in their Class C to the surface airspace. So I have to be in contact with Epley Tower before I'd ever have an operation out of there. So, I mean, I went to the federal level first, and then just to see if I could get it, and they were really easy to work with. They're just like, yeah, we'll just cut out an area of the airspace for you, just so you can get out. And then they introduced me to the tower guys there, and they all said, yeah, we'll work out a procedure for you to get out of there if you can do that. And then, but you'll have to get the local approval. And then I realized I better, you know, obviously get the local approval. So.
I don't know.
So I did that about, it was probably 4 years ago when I did that. But now I'm just getting to where financially I could handle a little airplane now. So.
Mm-hmm.
Any correspondence or anything all about this?
None.
Do we
Are there many runways in the county? I mean, I know there used to be a few. I don't know that not that it makes any difference. It's just a question. If you,
I think there's a few out there, but
is it something that they have to register? I don't even know how
Yeah,
it
it has to be
works.
registered. Yeah, and I've already processed the paperwork and things just to see if I could actually get that
So you
registration.
register with the feds then and
Yeah, with the
And the
FAA,
state,
yeah,
okay,
they've got
gotcha.
an airport, I guess, division. Yeah,
In
But
the,
there's nothing with the county, Matt, that they have to, it's just as long as it's in the zoning and then,
it'll be a conditional use
right?
when it goes into the zoning. So he would still have to come back and be successful at obtaining a conditional use permit, which gives us, more of a regulatory authority over him at that point in time, because then, if, complaints were to arise up out of it and/or if he wasn't meeting if he wasn't meeting the federal standard of what he was supposed to have in there, then we could come back and we could take that conditional use back from him.
Okay, gotcha.
is there anything like, you know, if a guy was to put up a facility, does he have to contact like the neighbors, or does some people so close have to okay this, or I mean, is this?
At that point in time, the conditional use permit, notices will go out to the neighboring property owners within 500 feet of that property. And they will have a chance to, come to that meeting with the zoning board of adjustment and either seek out the information that they're wanting. They could speak for it, they could speak against it.
I'm just asking that,
Mhm.
because, I mean, you're thinking the only reason it wasn't already put in there is because of the lack of areas that were probably affected, that it could be put in versus the A2, R1, R2 districts, is that what you're thinking when we originally did it, or?
I believe it was a topography, you know, it's people, when they're going down through adding in different conditional uses that can be thrown into there. It was just, you know, that's the Les Hills.
And is that the way that original one is written out? I mean, with the helipads, crop dusting and stuff, is that the way that is in those other?
That's exactly, yep, what it is. The one thing that Crescent has a little bit different from it that the other communities, that Crescent doesn't have that the other communities have, is the half-mile boundary around them. That is the R2 district,
Just because of the locale and?
because it backs up to the Les Hills there. They just, retained that as a foreground, to where the other communities all have a half-mile buffer around them that we've zoned R2, which is the urban transitional,
Which then it had already been,
which then
okay.
it would have already been okay.
Any other questions?
I don't have any other.
Okay, thank you.
yeah. Feel free to contact me anytime if you guys have any other questions or whatnot.
Okay. Thanks, Dan.
Is there anything else for me on this then?
I don't think so.
Not that I can see.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Well, thanks,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
You bet.
When can I expect to hear back, maybe on this, a decision on it?
Right now.
Couple minutes.
But then it
A
goes
couple
to
minutes.
the board.
Oh, really?
Well-
Okay, well, I'll hang around.
We'll make a decision as soon as we go out of public hearing,
And then it has to go to the Board of
the
Supervisors.
board of
of course.
supervisors, to that guy.
Okay,
They make, the planning commission here will make their recommendation, which then I'll take to the board of supervisors.
okay. All right, so maybe tomorrow, I know something for sure then.
Oh.
Well, you'll know their decision here in just
You'll
a
know their
second.
decision here, but then it'll be 30 days, then I'll take it to the board of supervisors.
No, well, we have to have
About
a,
two-
Takes a
two to
little
30
time.
days to go to the board.
Okay,
yeah, we'll have to,
Okay.
have a motion to close the public hearing.
Anybody against it, that wants to speak against it?
Yeah. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'm not close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passed. Any further comments? Any concerns? Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to approve, or
Second?
recommend, I guess, yeah.
Is there a second?
Well, I have a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Just at what point would the public or would neighbors be able to?
At the zoning board of adjustment meeting.
So there's
Okay.
it goes from us, and
From
then
us
it would
to
have to
them.
get through the man in the red shirt, and then they have to come back. If he accepts it, then it has to come back and go through
Okay.
another process to be sure that all the neighbors are happy about it.
Okay.
The public actually could be here tonight to voice their opinion, but
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. When will the
Site
neighbors be
specifically,
notified?
yeah.
That would be my only
Yeah.
concern, otherwise, yeah.
I see this as just bringing this zoning to be the same as the rest of the zoning areas is the way I'm looking at this.
Yeah. Yeah, this isn't,
I mean, just because they live in the hill zone, they shouldn't have any more special treatment than you living out on the bottom,
yeah,
correct?
yeah, this isn't making it
Legal.
legal so that he can do it. This is just making it for the zoning for the A4. And then after that, he's actually gotta come back and get a variance, so. Mm-hmm. All right.
Any other comments?
I'll second it, I guess.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
There you go.
All right, thanks, guys.
Matt, that goes with the person, not the land, right?
The conditional use will,
The conditional use
the conditional use
goes with the land or with the person?
land,
Okay.
And once it's approved, it's with the,
but if it's
it's like
vacated,
zoning.
but if it's vacated, so if the conditional use on property
For 6 months,
has no longer been used for 6 months,
then it goes dark?
yeah.
Okay.
Then it can be removed.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, just so you understand.
For sure.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Here we go.
Next case.
Open public hearing on that.
Yeah, we need to open the public hearing. I'll take a motion.
I'll move to open the public hearing on case ZTA 2016-02.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is open. Next case, ZPA 2016-2.
Yes, this is, a request that I'm making. We have an area to the north of town that is in the R2 district that in our land use plan that we came through and then we did our zoning changes through, we added in to the Les Hills region, some commercial activities you could do as long as you had, access to a hard surface road and that, in those, that you could do, but when we made the zoning change, we only put it into the A4 district when it was meant to be more of an overlay district for that Les Hills region. We've gotten a request, to do that in that, in that property that's just happened to be right over the line in the R2 district. I feel like the easiest way for us to correct this is if we make it, we put it into the conditional uses in the R2 district and we state in there that it has to have direct access to the official bituminous road designated by the county board in a resolution. And then that way, that gives us a control method to say, you know, we have these official bituminous roads that we're allowing more development opportunities on, and we can keep it up into that area, not only by that, by having direct access to that and that. So now you'll have it in the A4 part of that, and you can be able to do it in the R2 part of it as well.
Where's this property at? It's just north of this.
Right on Perry Road. I came to the board of supervisors about,
Perry Road's right there off of 191, right?
Yep.
yes, just off there. About 3 weeks or maybe a month ago, we did the official bituminous roads, and on your map on your back page, the official bituminous roads are 205th Street from 191 up to Badger Avenue, Juniper across to L34, Mud Hollow Road down to Old Lincoln Highway, and Perry Road up to Honeysuckle.
So once again, you're putting this in so that this is possible to do this in the R2 as well. And you're saying that each one of these, say if a person wanted to put a bakery shop in, it's gotta be a conditional use permit.
Conditional use permit,
So that means everybody within 500 feet is gonna get notified.
everybody will be notified, public hearing.
And does this have anything to do with the new bike trail that they're trying to put in or they're putting in, or
It does not.
does not?
Because this will be only on, in the R2 district, this will only be on the official bituminous roads.
What's the definition of bituminous road? Rock, cement?
No, it's the seal coat.
Ground up oil and sand.
I went and met with the county engineer. The county engineer has been redoing some of our seal coat roads. And instead of having to embargo them, he's gone to a thicker bituminous road instead of doing just, originally the seal coat started out as just a cover layer. And then over the years, it's kept getting deeper and deeper, and now they're up to about an 8-inch depth that they do.
So this map shows, the yellow on the bottom in Council Bluffs, that's the city limits.
That's city limits,
And then the blue is your
R2 district.
R2, and that's what we're trying to get this into is the R2.
Yes, and then the pink is
Pink
already
is-
in.
The pink is already in.
Yes, that's the A4 district.
So we're just trying to incorporate it uniformly from city limits all the way out.
Yes,
And this is the only spots in Pottawattamie County that this affects?
these are the only official bituminous roads that we have in the R2 district.
So is there gonna be any regulations on how many feet off of the bituminous road, or does it have to be adjoining to the bituminous road, or,
The property
yeah,
has to have direct access
direct
to it.
access? Now, is it limited to just these A through L, or is there things that we haven't thought of that are gonna go on there, or?
It's limited to just the A through L unless we were to come back through you all again to make a change to the code.
And once again, if you were to put a bar, somebody come in to ask to put a bar there on Mud Hollow, it would have to be a conditional use permit.
It would, and I
Same
imagine,
way with the museum or bakery or a health spa.
yes.
I move to close the public hearing.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
I just think that, if we're gonna connect the yellow to the purple or pink or whatever, I mean, why would we wanna make a buffer around the city that they can do it in the city and then they can come clear out and do it at Underwood, but they can't do it in between? I mean, why? I mean, that's like throwing everybody in there under the bus. I mean, we gotta be uniform, right? I mean, I could see if that was where they grew all the tulips or something in Washington, you didn't want it there, but
That's
That's
not a
all.
request.
There has been a request that they're holding off on right now until it's up on, Perry Road for a fitness center.
And so this would have to go in front of the guy with the red shirt out there. He has to prove it, and then they have to go through this whole process again to get a conditional use permit for each individual I mean, if you wanted to do a fitness or you wanted to do a bakery or whatever, each person has to come back and get that conditional use, correct?
Yes.
I move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. That concludes.
I move to adjourn.
Wow, nothing else we can talk about for a while?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.